What's up, you guys? It's Zamara, and it is 4 minutes past midnight, and I bring you guys a movie review. So, I finally got to watching the movie Sully, the one about that flight, US Airways flight that landed in the Hudson River, River back in January 2009. And I remember this thing when it happened, and it was all over the internet and on the news too. And at the time, I wasn't really into what being in an airplane crash means. Some years after that, 4 years to be exact, 2013, between the years of 2012 and 2013, I really started reading a lot about airplanes and accidents and just the factors and elements involved in it. And I learned a lot from reading of the results of every investigation conducted after all of these accidents. And I am so glad I did, because it's helped me in every aspect of my life. Everything from my job to my life and my family, with my family, and just personally, it helped me grow because it made me aware of things that you just normally aren't aware of. And it just helps whenever you become like conscious about those things. But anyway, let's dive into the movie itself. So this movie was outstanding. It was fantastic. It was awesome and it was phenomenal. And I really hope that they kept it as factual as possible. I guess I wish I would have researched that before doing this review, but since it's based on a real story, I really don't see what element of the movie could really be fictitious. The parts that I really want to check are those passengers who ended up in the river, like that lady and then that man. I really want to know if there were victims who ended up having to swim, because I don't remember ever reading or hearing about that. But I know it's possible because, hey, you needed to evacuate the freaking plane. So, like, I don't know. But anyway, wow, there's so much I want to say. First of all, when the way the movie started, I absolutely loved the portrayal by Tom Hanks of a person who suffers from a massive load of stress. Clint Eastwood directing this type of stuff, if he's the one who we gotta credit for that type of portrayal, he did great. And let me tell you why. I myself deal with stress quite often. It's been the story of my life for many, many years. If I wanted to put a date on it, I would say beginning in 2012-ish or 2013-ish is when I sensed that my stress was starting to get out of control. By 2011, I did experience some stress, and it was on the note of everybody was starting to talk to me about college and just life after high school, and it's stuff that I really didn't have in my mind. But as I watched this movie, I couldn't help but just feel what the character felt like. That stress of the media's bombarding you, that stress of, oh, these are the steps that I took, reliving those moments, and the anxiety that accompanies a decision that you made that affects, a whole group of people, affects your job, affects your career, your family life. Like, the movie, I don't know how you guys are, but as an audience, but if you think that was over dramatic in the film, which I don't think so, I gotta say you're a very fortunate person, because only someone who has lived through that overwhelming experience will be able to tell you, hey, that's not the movie trying to make it dramatic and trying to make the movie fun to watch. Because, hey, I understand this is a movie. I'm not saying that everything in the movie is factual, because I don't know. I'm not one of those 155 passengers. I'm not Captain Sully. I'm not, anybody in the NTSB. I'm just a person who happens to watch this movie and who also happened to know a little bit of the story based on what the news put out and social media. So, but I gotta say that I sense no exaggeration. Like this was carefully made, carefully directed, carefully scripted. And of course, my favorite part of it all had to be I was expecting to see real life footage, and it was not really present during the film, but in the credits, they did show the real stuff as it happened, and especially that bond and connection that Captain Sully had with each and every single one of those passengers. And I absolutely loved when he said that because of those events of January 15th, 2009, they're going to be connected in mind and heart and soul forever. And but at any rate, see, this movie also goes over something that I myself have always been super interested in and very aware of, which is human factors and human behavior, and how, that scene where they were at the hearing, it was great. I mean, because they are starting to bombard you with just facts, like science driven facts, and then Captain Sully, like the complete and awesome professional that he is, he said, I do this job every day. I'm the one who has 4 decades of experience, and I'm the one who was making the decision and flying that plane on that day. You just do not know what the environment was like in the cockpit and why I manifested myself the way that I did. The part, before I even watched that scene, I was already thinking that to myself. I was telling myself, wait a second, whenever you watch something through a flight simulator, because I come from a family where there are pilots. My father's a pilot, and my brother is, if he doesn't have it already, sorry, I just don't keep in touch with him as much as I should, but he's on his way of getting on his way to get his license. And I remember when my brother would practice with the simulator, he of course would anticipate the types of emergencies that he himself was going to establish for him to tackle. But I think the most effective simulation and method of training consists of stuff that you just don't expect. And as a person, I go back to me, as a person who lives with anxiety. Anybody who knows me or has worked with me, or you've done anything with me that's, either school related or work related, you will know that I always tell you, please let me know beforehand what I can expect. And that's because when something has the potential to impact my life so greatly, I get into this fight or flight type of response, as they like to call it. And the only way for me to calm myself down is if I just know what to expect. That's just a normal human conduct. And I am so happy that everything turned out well for Captain Sully, because oftentimes when you're in the line of work, you make decisions and you have so much unnecessary stress piled up on top of you. Everything from budget, and when you have budget affecting your decision making, that is frightening. Because think about it, some people, let's take Captain Sully for example. Let's say that he was worried about, oh yeah, this is I don't know how many $1 million plane. I can't afford to scratch it. It's already busted thanks to the birds, but I can't afford to completely ditch it. So he's deciding, okay, no matter what, if I survive, I gotta make sure that this plane is, mostly all right, because the airline and the insurance, and one of the guys said it. One of the lines, they were like, okay, you saved everybody on board, but the airline now has to deal with insurance and this and that. And airlines or businesses keep saying safety comes first, but at the same time, in your employee, probably unbeknownst to you, because you just don't work at their level when you're creating the rules. You're not considering stuff like what happens in case of emergency. By doing this, you are already programming a human to doubt themselves when it comes to decisions. And the reason is simple. It's like you have to stress about, money and income and, what's better for the business. And that's what's so dangerous about businesses. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it, capitalism in general, if it's appropriate for me to say capitalism. And what I mean is, we are so obsessed with making that dollar that it seems like we just forget about everything else. And instead of, avoiding disasters so that, we resolving them is more difficult than preventing them. So, and I know I'm all over the place and I'm not really reviewing the movie itself, but this just triggers so many thoughts. Because I'm just so aware of this. I've been very aware of this. And even when I show up at my job, which is absolutely nothing like what Captain Sully does, but when someone does something, I'm thinking, what's going on in their mind? Have they gotten enough sleep? Normally, when I have any kind of incident at my job, the person either has a lot going on in their lives outside of work, like maybe someone is sick, maybe they themselves are sick, money problems, fighting with their spouses, anything like that. So there's that human factor, and I always keep that in mind. And I would hope that if that were to happen to me, where I'm the one who's not performing as I should, that someone would come up to me and be like, what is the matter? What's happening outside of work? Because remember, we're all humans. We can be professionals and experts all we want, but we still have our human emotions and impact, and that will continue to affect us no matter what. And the reason those things exist is Mother Nature's way of saying, hey, we need to ensure that we can keep the species surviving, so we have to install some kind of system for them to, when shit happens and gets real, they'll know how to respond accordingly. So anyways, wow, it's minute 13 in this movie review, so let me try to go back to the movie. The movie was great. It was fantastic. Very beautifully shot. Every single actor was great. They sounded to me the way I would think they would sound in real life. And the part of Captain Sully being checked in the hospital, and then the doctor's like, hell, I don't believe that you yourself are in front of me. I would be the same way. I mean, it's like, for instance, let's say I'm Captain Sully's wife, and then I get a call from my husband saying, oh, I just crash landed in the Hudson River. I'm going to react the same way that lady did in the movie, which is, I am shocked. Are you okay? Well, you must be okay because you're talking to me, but you could be okay, but maybe, I don't know, dismembered or missing an eye, or some crazy stuff. So it's just strange. You get, like Captain Sully said in one of the parts, like, I've delivered people safely for over 4 decades, and then one day, in just 208 seconds, all of that can go to hell. And not only that, imagine if this would have turned, let's say that the human factor really contributed and this ended up being a disaster that could have been prevented. Let's say that he could have made it to the airport Um, no matter what. We're talking about this guy spent like 42 years flying. This is his career. And then this one little instance, he, throughout his career, everybody was safe. And then this one episode, almost so close to the end of his journey. And this is going to cost him his retirement, pensions, everything that he worked for, gone. That's the craziest thing about just, how can I say this? Building something up and not having anything that you own. What I mean by that is, someone else or something else has your resources, control over you. And yeah, I'm telling you, I take this stuff very seriously. And I think about it, and this is a good film, for instance, and a great story. That's good that it happened when it makes you think like this, like the effect that it's having on me, which I'm probably poorly describing, but that's why I keep practicing, you guys, with these vlogs. That the message is getting across. So I am very certain that a lot of other pilots have gotten inspiration from this story. And, know your plane, follow your gut. It's like me at my job sometimes. I'm like, I'm going to do something a little unprecedented. And hey, I've gotten great results doing that. And yeah, you guys, what can I say? This movie, since it's based on real events, it's kind of difficult to not really relate it to you personally, even though you have absolutely nothing to do with their industry. And I knew that this was going to be a good pick, but I had no idea it would be this great. And like I said, all the anxiety, all the stress, all the, all of that portrayed in this movie, I have felt in reality. So, of course, I'm going to relate. And, of course, I haven't experienced it on the degree that this guy did, that all of these folks did. Like, this is your profession, this is what you've been doing, you just know the ins and outs, and it's like your face is in it. That's your identity, especially when you've done it for so long. So Captain Sully, to me, he's like that one person who, always had a healthy routine. He must have been an excellent student, incredible loads of discipline. So, for him to be going through this, and he handled it so professionally and like a pro, it's, yeah, there's no way anybody can go through this life who knows about this story or has seen this movie and doesn't pick up a few things or finds it inspiring. All right, you guys. Well, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. This ran into almost 20 minutes, but maybe I should do another video going over stress and anxiety. I mean, I've done it before, but I mean, this provoked a whole new set of thoughts in me. But anyway, even if I'm repeating myself, I wouldn't mind saying it again and again until people are, until lives improve and everything goes better for everybody. I believe I said this already, but I'm gonna say it again. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon.